All right, what up, YouTube? This is No Cap, No Filter. I'm your host, Marley G, back at y'all another episode of Running With You. And today we got to run about 10 reasons why you never marry a woman with a high body count. I came across something I was reading online, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead on and read them and make a post about them, and we're going to break them down, one by one. So without further ado, let's go ahead on and get into the top 10 reasons. Reason number one, a woman's past is her resume. It shows you her discipline, loyalty, boundaries, and her decision making under pressure. Ignore it, and you're volunteering for pain you could have seen coming a mile away. I agree. I definitely feel like your past matters. I definitely feel like, you know, who you were and what you've done in the past can definitely be an inkling to who you can become in the future, or who you are currently today. You definitely just got to go off the resume. It's the same as a job trying to hire you and they want to know your work history. It's the same as you trying to get a loan, but the banks want to know your credit history. You gotta go off the resume. Resume matters in dating. Resume matters in the real world when it comes to business. People want to see the Carfax before they get ready to purchase a car. You gotta know how something was in the past to dictate if you want to, move forward with it in any type of relationship, you know. So definitely agree with that. Number two, high body count isn't experience, it's baggage. Emotional imprints, broken bonds, soul ties, trauma, and desensitization. Every man she's opened herself to left fingerprints you can't scrub off. You're not getting a blank slate. You're getting used goods. Definitely agree with that. Like a lot of women, they have soul ties with a lot of men. Well, I ain't gonna say a lot of men, but a lot of women have soul ties with a couple of men that they just can't move on from. Like some women, they can have a one night stand with a man. Some women can have a fling with a man, but some women, it's those certain men, those certain exes, certain baby daddies, or certain soul ties that they just can't shake. And these guys pop up in their life every so often throughout the year, whenever they just ready to deal with them again. And these women are attracted to these men for certain reasons. Maybe the sex was good, maybe she's highly attracted to him, or it's just different reasons for the attractions. And you don't want to get with a woman who got these imprints of all these different men on them, because it's going to be hard to pair bond with her. The more men she's been with, the harder it's going to be for her to just pair bond and then settle down. That's why a lot of men say lower body count, you'll be more better off. Number three, single mother. Respect the hustle, understand the role. Her child's come first always. You'll always be the auxiliary. You are not her king. You are her replacement soldier stepping into a war that is started before you showed up. Okay, now the single mother thing, I think in the real world, bro, a lot of men get with women who has kids, especially the older you get. Now, you do have the choice to say, okay, no matter how old I get, I'm not getting with a single mother. That is your prerogative and your preference. But every single day, men are getting with women who have kids, and they are being in long-term happy relationships with them. I got one kid, so I feel like if I meet a woman and we connect very well, and she has one kid, I can accept that. Now, I'm not about to accept 3, 4 kids, multiple different baby daddies, or you have a kid and the kid is very young. Like me personally, I think the kid got to at least be 5 years old, and I'm not dealing with no bad kids. Like if you got a bad kid, I don't care how good the bond is between us. If you got a bad, spoiled, rotten kid, I can't deal with you. So I think context matters, If the kid is not a problem with you, you think you can, definitely, you know, live with the kid, work with the kid, then cool. But all context matter. What's the relationship with with the child's father, like all that matters. You know, do they have a healthy co-parenting relationship? How does she talk to him? How does she handle being upset with him? All that stuff matters. So single mother thing, yes, I agree with, but under certain contexts. History of a toxic relationship doesn't reset when you arrive. Don't assume you're different. I just said that how is she with her baby daddy or maybe her ex when she's upset. Don't assume you're different. If she's just drawn to chaos, drama, and dysfunction, that chaos will follow you into your home. You don't fix it, you inherit it. Definitely. Like if you could see red flags of chaos, drama, if she's messy, if she's always into something, but claiming that she minds her business, it's a difference between, and don't get it twisted. Most women gossip, but it's a difference between gossiping and being messy. Gossiping is just, talking about what you heard a co-worker did at work, things of that nature, just regular conversation. I think we all do it. But being messy is, putting two people a cross and knowing that drama can inflict from that. Being messy is, always, in the center of some people's mess, being drawn to drama. Like if she likes to fight and make up and all that, like you don't want to deal with that. You want to deal with a woman who, don't even watch baddies. She can't even, see herself even watching a show like that. You don't want a woman with no type of drama associated with her, no type of toxic associated with her, especially women who think being toxic is cute or part of a relationship, like all fun. You want to get with a woman who could understand what stability is and know that stability gonna come with some type of boredom, But don't get it twisted. Don't just be boring with your girl. Go out and do things. You want to, be able to. You want to be able to be excited and spontaneous. Trigger her mind. Don't just let everything just be on cruise control. Keep her on her toes. Number 5, years of clubbing, thirst trapping, and validation, chasing stick. That lifestyle doesn't vanish because you put a ring on it. It sticks to her spirit like smoke on clothes. The need for male attention doesn't die. It just gets redirected. Definitely agree. If you met your girl and she was clubbing every weekend, thirst trapping on the internet, got, exposing her body parts, showing her tongue in a lot of pictures, showing her breasts in a lot of pictures on different angles, a lot of her pictures, she gotta show her ass. Automatic no. You want a girl who's her Instagram is mostly her and her family, her and her friends, sceneries, maybe whatever her hobbies is, her habits. You don't want her just always in the club, always in the section, always drinking, showing body parts. You don't want none of that. Like if anything, you want a girl who's dressing modest, covered up, and a lot of times it's just a selfie if she's showing the pictures of herself. Because like they say that lifestyle don't vanish when that ring comes. And a lot of women, they want to get married, but they don't want to be a wife. It's a difference. They just want to get married to impress their friends, And one thing about it, you don't want a woman that seeks attention. You don't want a attention-seeking woman. You want a woman who don't even care about attention, Number 6, past behavior is the best predicator of the future behavior. We already spoke on that, with the resume. If she lied, cheated, manipulated, or lived reckless before, she can repeat it. People don't change their core patterns without serious pain and work. Most don't either. Okay, now I do think that, you can have lied before in the past if you're young. Like, let's just say your first relationship, you're 16. You probably can have lied, maybe even did some sort of cheating, manipulated a dude or, live a little reckless. I do think you can change and grow from that. But if you've been doing that for a long period of time and you got a long history of that, and I think it's levels to it. Like it's a level to how you cheated. It's a level to what you manipulated a man out of. It's a level to how reckless have you been. Certain stuff, automatic no. Certain stuff, automatic huge red flags. Certain stuff is minor. So I think it's, context with that, but I do think, you want to get with a girl who's modest. You want to get with a girl who had, a pretty good childhood, 2-parent household, grow up in a decent environment. You don't want to get with a girl who, had a bad influence of friends and things of that nature. That can be problematic. Number 7, your legacy is not a toy. Marriage isn't just about her body. It's about her patterns, her habits, her decisions, her history, and what they will demand from your time, money, and mental health for the next 40 years. Definitely, marriage is one of the biggest decisions a man can make in his life. Happy wife, happy life. I do believe that, but you got to choose the right partner. You got to vet the woman very properly. And it takes some years of dating. It takes years of, living together in under a house first. Like, I know people think you should get married before you live together. I think you should live together before you get married. You want to see how y'all cohabitate before you put a ring on it. You want to see how good y'all could get along, because this is one of the most important decisions you'll make in your life, choosing the right wife. So yes, your legacy is not a toy, and marriage is definitely a part of your legacy. So many great men became great men because they chose the right wife, and so many men, I ain't gonna say they wasn't a great man because they didn't choose the right wife, but they detoured their legacy, an unnecessary route for a large amount of time because they married wrong, and lost a lot of money in the process. Number 8, emotional capacity gets capped. Every deep attachment leaves a mark. After enough, she stops bonding the way she did in her 20s. You'll get loyalty, light, intimacy on her terms, and a ceiling on how much he can invest in you and the family. I mean, I think after time, people gonna stop bonding the same way they did, in general. Like you might don't do the exact same things you did for her to woo her when you first met her. She might not do the same thing she did for you when you first met her. But I think that's the part about a marriage. Like you gotta be able to, learn how to work through those tough times, because it's gonna be tough times. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship, but the good marriages are the ones who could be able to, okay, we got a problem, let's figure out a way to solve it, and they get through these tough times. I do think, you got to find different ways to bond. You have to, spice up your sex life. You have to try new hobbies and habits. I think you need to travel. You want to keep her enticed in you, but you definitely have to demand loyalty. You definitely have to demand loyalty. You definitely have to demand intimacy. Like once y'all go weeks and months without having sex and all that, the relationship is almost cooked. So you definitely gotta have certain demands that you just feel like is a foundation of marriage. And one of the biggest things about that is communication. If y'all can have communication, y'all can get through anything, especially when both of y'all are upset at each other. Number 9, hypergamy doesn't sleep. A woman who's had access to high status men won't be satisfied with average for long. She knows what the top 10% looks like, felt like, spent like. You'll be measured up against ghost. When you slip, she's already shopping. I definitely agree with that, depending on the type of woman you get. If you get a good woman, that hypergamy stuff, it can have an inkling in her head, but she won't act on it. If you with a woman who's, been with these high status guys and, she didn't had fun dating the athletes and the rappers in her 20s, and now you trying to settle down with her when she in her, late 20s, early 30s. She's gonna be, talking with her friends and say, girl, you remember you used to, you know what I'm saying? And all of that's gonna be in her head, especially if these guys are still trying to, come see her again. Now they might not take her serious as far as, trying to wife her, but they want to just, probably catch up with her and, sleep with her again. And she can be tempted. So you gotta vet your girl, see what type of men that she has dated before you. She might lie, but it's always still good to ask, because she might still tell you stuff that can be a little red flaggish, or something that you want to just keep a mental note of. So just try to see what type of guy she has dated, ask around, check the Carfax, and see what you kind of up against. Now, if she dated a lot of guys who were, always a 9 to 5 type of guy when she was young, or career driven guy, you ain't really got that much to worry about, because she always dated, a guy that, gets a paycheck regular, like, the common man. But even that can be hypergamy, because, she could still lose you for a guy who's, maybe a CEO, So one thing about that, dog, one thing about that right there, any guy could take an L. If your girl sees another man better than you financially, status wise, any guy can take an L. I don't care if you Drake, because she might think somebody out there is better than Drake, So any guy can take an L when it comes to that. You just gotta trust your girl. Number 10, your kids will inherit her standards. You don't just marry her, you marry her worldview. Daughters learn what men are. Daughters learn what men are for and what they can get away with. Sons learn what it takes to earn respect. If her model of relationships is transactional and unstable, that becomes normalized. Oh yeah, definitely don't want to get with a girl who, think the relationship is just transactional. I can only do this for you if you do this for me. Nah, it got to be just done out the kindness of your heart. And your kids would inherit her standards. I mean, as long as you marrying a good woman, your kid's gonna have a good foundation. I don't think that's nothing to worry about, so long as you vet her properly. Like I say, man, a lot of these things, man, I just want to say this as well. You can go through all these things and a relationship still might not work out. You can have a relationship with a woman with a high body count. It's just the likelihood of that relationship succeeding is more higher than not, of it failing. So I just want to say is no clear cut, perfect way to get in a relationship and just know it's going to work. It could be a man get in a relationship with a woman with a low body count, but they might have, different worldviews that they just can't align with. They probably have two different religions, or they might have two political views, or, she probably has certain things that trigger her that he does that she don't like, like you just got to get with someone who values you, who's of value to you on your program, and genuinely likes you, and y'all have a nice time together. Y'all genuinely like each other time. And certain things is going to be context involved, and I recommend you want to get with someone who's submissive. You want to get with someone who's feminine. You want to get with someone who's not combative. You want to get with someone who's nurturing, good motherly skills. You want to get with someone who can think logically when she's upset. You want to get with someone who could communicate. If she does have a high body count, that don't mean that, y'all can't have a relationship and it can work. I'm not saying, because some guys don't care about all that, You just got to get with a girl who's on your program. Not me personally. I recommend vet a woman. Get a woman who ain't have that many high body count. You want to get with a woman who had at least 3 long-term boyfriends, probably. High school sweetheart, college sweetheart, and the guy who she was dating after college. You know, as long as they were long terms, that's probably your best bet, because now she has an understanding on what it's like to actually be in a relationship versus a woman who is in multiple comment section below, man. I'm about to get ready and in the video. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed yet, what you're waiting on. Until next time, I'm out.